Hello everyone, welcome to a new part of this installer tutorial. So in this video, it's not gonna be too much code, but I think we're gonna learn a lot. So as you know, in the last video, we was able to create an address and show the address right there. So when I create an address, I can click here, and when I click save, the address came right there. The thing is now, first, when I have an address, I cannot add another one. So this is not the best thing here. So what I want is, when a user have already an address, we want to show an add button here where the user can click on this, and that's gonna go back to the form. Also, if I refresh my screen and I go to my address again, I don't have any address. But if we look in the database, if I click to my address right there, all this address go to my user. So it's kind of odd about this, because now it's we are stuck here. The user don't even know which address he have and everything. So the first thing we're gonna need to do is fixing the server to send us this address stuff for the user. So each user gonna receive its current address, and also I'm gonna show you how you can use mobx and React navigation together to just show a button when it's that time only. So first thing, for those who don't know this tool, the name is MongoDB Compass. If you want to download this, you just need to go to the mongodb.com website and you just download Mongo Compass, and it's free. So it would be really nice, because we can use this to also doing geospatial stuff. So when we're gonna want to see the how to fetch stuff around the user and everything. So yeah, so I really encourage you to download it. I know you work on Mac, okay, yeah, Mac, Windows, and Linux, so everyone's gonna be happy. So if we jump back to the code in my workspace, I'm gonna open the server. I want to go to my module and my address, and I want to check my address.js. Here inside my address.js, we have created this get user address stuff in the last video. So this get address can be used now after that inside a controller. So what I mean, it's here we have inside a controller the create. So that was for creating an address. But now, if I want to get the user addresses, what I can do, it's calling an async function with rec and res, because remember, that's gonna be finally my controller here. After that, here I'm gonna throw an error, or at least we can console log the error and just see what's gonna happen. And now here, what I want to do is I want to get the address coming in from the function we have created in the last one. So if we jump back to the address.js, this function was really simple, was just finally this function receives a user ID, and we fetch each address where the user equal this user ID. So that's going to be each address finally who is below a user. As you can see, why we create this function to recreate again this function, it's because, like I told you, if maybe one day you want to change Mongoose for, I don't know, like DynamoDB or something like that, you just need to change this function here, and the controller gonna stay the same. And why that? It's because this function abstract the thing who touch the database, and this controller call these services only. So now if we go back to the controller here, we can get the user address here at the top. Take this get user address, call it right there. As you know, get user address here gonna need a user ID. All we get the user ID is by calling rec.user._ID, because that's gonna be the ID we're gonna receive from the GWT authentication. And after that, when it's finished, we're gonna send a status. Here we send as 201 because that was mean create, but here we just need to send a okay, it's good. And we're gonna send back a JSON object where we're gonna have a key value equal to address, so we don't need to say address because ES6. After that, now if we jump to the address route, we're gonna create another route. So inside the controller here we have also user address. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have route.get. I still want to go to the slash, but remember, this is the thing about the REST API and things like that. it's the verbs gonna change whatever gonna happen here. I don't need to create another verbs for getting the address for my user. I can just say get, and I'm gonna get it. Also, I want my user to receive his GWT token, so it's not like it's gonna be a full one, but the function we're gonna call is gonna be user address. So now jump on Postman. Make sure you have it also. Make sure you have a bearer token, like we did in the last video. You just do mobx out star to JSON and you copy paste the token and you put bearer in front of it. And after that you can click send. And now I click send and you see what I receive. First thing, if I don't put a token, I'm gonna get unit arise. So this is this customer out. And after that, when I click send, I receive all my address. So right now I have one address here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm pretty sure because I'm the only one, yeah, you see, I have 8 address. So it's pretty nice. So here I receive all the address from my user. Now time to get it inside the front end. So the beauty of mobx-state-tree, it's gonna be here, we're gonna see it, okay? So first thing, in the current user model, from the mobile, so if I open mobile model current user, here we have the create address, but one thing also I want is gonna be a get addresses. So for those who ask, how do I know if I put this function here or if I put it on something like here? It's because first thing here is the parent, okay? So the parent is the one who handle all the address, okay? Because here I'm gonna fetch all the address, I want to set the address to there. But later in the next video, when we're gonna want to update an address, I'm gonna make use of this user address model, because when I want to update, I have access to this object himself. So it's gonna be much more simpler, but now because we touch the parent, we need to use it from here. And the beauty of this is if I update this user address from himself, that's gonna update the parent, because the parent have a reference to this user address, and because the identifier gonna know it. Okay, so here that's gonna be an async function. So remember, we need a flow with a function generator. I think we have no space. We're gonna add a try catch. Okay, here inside the try catch, I'm gonna throw an error because I want to handle the error in my screen. After that, I'm gonna do a const res. It's gonna be the same thing as this. Okay, I'm gonna just copy paste that like that, but now we're gonna change this to be a get, and we don't need any stuff. So you see, res with the base API. Base API, remember what it does, it go to /3000 blah blah blah. After that, we put the out authorization headers with the out token coming in from my parent. After that, we do a get, and we say we want that to JSON. So for now, I'm gonna want to see my response. So where I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go back to my screen here, and I'm gonna jump to the address screen. So this screen here. What I want here, it's when I'm gonna do component map, I'm gonna call a function called fetch addresses. This function fetch addresses gonna be an async function right there. This fetch address here, the only thing gonna does for now, I'm gonna catch the error first, and we're gonna call the function from the out star we have inject from here, that info and the name of the function we just create, get address. So if everything is working, I will be supposed to see a res here. So if I go there and I click, you see res, I receive back an array of 8 address, all there. But remember the thing, this address have a coord array and a type of point like that. But if we look here, we use a geo object where we have LNG latitude. So as we know already, the way we have fetched this, handle this in the past was doing this kind of stuff, okay? But it's gonna be painful to do this also here, because here right now, if you see what I mean, we're gonna need to loop over each address to do like a for each or whatever, and doing this kind of stuff. because remember, we want to normalize in a way that the front end gonna use it from the back end, but the back end don't send us the way we want it. And maybe some of you say, yes, but why you don't put it the way you want from the back end? First, is the back end gonna make use of this way when we're gonna use geospatial stuff? And also, yes, maybe here we build a full stack stuff, but if you work with a backend developer in the future and he send you data who don't look the same as you want, you're gonna need to change it yourself. So I think that was a good idea to show it. So the way we're gonna handle this, it's we want to do this logic on the creation of the user address himself. So the user address, when you're gonna create himself, you're gonna do this. So the way we handle that, it's by calling a function to this user model user address, and that's gonna be called pre-process snapshot. So finally, it's just before we create a snapshot. So here I say, when I get the snap, so the snap finally gonna be the object we create. So think about like that's gonna be this full object here we pass. So I want to return all the snap, but the geo here gonna need to become, gonna need to become this stuff here. But this stuff gonna be replaced by snap, and I need to get the get from low-get like that. So now every time we want to create a user address, that's gonna came to there. So each user address gonna go there, gonna spread all the other value, and the geo gonna become this value here. So now the beauty of this, it's now I can delete that and just say as the address here, like that. So yeah, I think will be good here. And after that, we don't really need to say equal object. We can just say if res the address, like that. And now for here, this guest address, we can say if res the addresses. I want to check if this is an array. So the way you handle this, it's array is array. That return a boolean if this is an array, and I want to check if address says it's an array. If yes, I'm gonna say res the addresses equal self that addresses equal res the addresses. So as you can see here, I mutate and I say my array of addresses become the array I receive. Now we're gonna check what's gonna happen. And now if I send, you see, we get a little, like a little, I don't know how you say that, like, one sec, a little flick. You see, when I click, get a little flick right there before. So what I think would be better is to show a loading spinner before all of this. But you see, at least we can fetch it. So the way I want to put a spinner now is by taking an observable function. So because I don't use state, so I'm gonna say observable is loading equal false by default. This observable gonna be come from mobx. From mobx, the name is observable. So here, and also we're gonna need an action, because now this fetch address, I'm gonna bind this action right there. So that's gonna be a function like that. I can still put async if I want. It just now that's gonna be the function. I'm gonna change my address, and now what I can say, it's here. I'm gonna say this is loading equal to true, and when it's fetched, this is loading to false. And now after that, what I can do, it's here inside my render, I can say if this is loading, return a box, and I want the activity indicator from Reignited to show a loading spinner. Right there, activity indicator, color of theme that color that green, size of large, but this thing I want this in the center of the screen, so I can say flex 1 for my box. I want an item and justify content center, and also I want a BG wide for this one. So now we're gonna see it if that's gonna work. You see right there, it worked. It's pretty nice. Now I'm gonna show you in the next video with the update function also. Then, because now if I back and I go there, you see now we're gonna receive some error, okay? But I'm gonna show you how you can handle this. For now, we're gonna just make sure then this stuff work for now. You're gonna see, gonna make more sense when you're gonna get a bit deeper in mobx. Now the thing is, look here, I cannot add any other address, and this is not that good. So the way I want to have this, it's first to have an header right here, where I'm gonna have my header btn. The header btn we have created here, like that, header btn. We get this from the comment, and this thing can receive a add inside the text, and we're gonna have green. And remember, header btn can receive right, where you're gonna put a margin, so we're gonna just say right. Okay, so what I want is to show this button when I have an address already, but I don't want to show it when I have nothing. So the way that work with React navigation, it's with param, okay? So in React navigation, we're gonna have some param we're gonna change with what we have, okay? But for doing this, the way we're gonna work is we're gonna first create an action. We're gonna call this. So we're gonna add set add button, who's gonna be a function. With this function, the only thing it does, I'm gonna call this at navigation set param. So this is the function you can call to put a param in the navigation, and I'm gonna say show add btn to true. So this function is gonna add the params. We can have access to this param now inside here. So here we have access to navigation, and now what I want to do is to return this stuff. But for the header right, we're gonna change some stuff. So header right gonna came from navigation that get param. I'm gonna check if we have the param we have just created. So show add btn. If it's true, I'm gonna return that. Else I return no, and I'm gonna return this here, just like that. So now if I do this, remember we don't call this function. So we are right there, you see, we don't call a function. Now for testing this for you, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call this function right there with a set timeout of 1 second, and I'm gonna call this set add button right there after it's loading, just to show you that that's gonna work. So if I go there, you see, it's appearing right now. First thing, this button don't do nothing right now. So the way we're gonna handle this, it's I want to have this under press equal to that. And now I can pass it here. I can say on press equal navigation that get param, like that. So now we're gonna check it gonna work again. So remember, after I finish to fetch, after 1 second, we're gonna get it. And now if I click add, I can open this. But it's really not good. We want to do this only when the address is empty, is gonna be false. You know, this stuff here. So you can do some logic inside that and doing a fetch and checking after that, but man, you can do something so much simpler with mobx. So with mobx, inside mobx, we can came with something called when. So if we look to Google Chrome and I go to the mobx docs, when it's observe and run the given predicate. So we'll think about like it can be kind of like a boolean or whatever you want. And if it become true, you're gonna call a side effect, and yeah, that's gonna call a side effect. But the thing about when, it's gonna do this only once, because in mobx-state-tree, and in mobx, sorry, you have some reaction stuff like auto run will run every time, when will run only one time with a predicate, and reaction it's like auto run but a bit better because you can check some kind of condition and run a side effect until this, but that's gonna always run. So the when gonna run only one time. So what we can do for this, it's now, if we jump here inside the constructor, so constructor, it's called only one time, and this is when the class get instantiated, yeah. And now here what we can do is we can use when. So when need a predicate, we return a boolean, and after that you're gonna have some side effect. So here I'm gonna have a function, we're gonna call the function props. I don't need to do this prop because we receive it from the constructor, and I want the props, this thing here, but I want it when it becomes false. And after that I'm gonna have a function we can do something. Here I'm gonna say hello world. So what I want you to see is I'm gonna see a message hello world only happening one time in my app. You see hello world, it's happening only when I get stuff. And just to showing you that work, I'm gonna go back to Mongo Compass, and I'm gonna delete all my address. Okay, now I'm gonna refresh my screen. So think about this, now I'm gonna have no address at all. You see, we have this, but you see the hello world don't call at all. But the beauty of this now, it's if I click add address, and I click here and I check an address, because this thing gonna change the computed value of the get address is empty, because this thing return only when it's empty. If I click save, and now you see we get hello world. So now what we can do with that, it's inside that here we can call the function this that set add button. That's it. So now this set add button gonna happen when we have something appearing. And for seeing it again, I'm gonna delete that, refresh my screen. Now you see we don't have, I'm gonna add an address, I'm gonna click save, and the button appear, and now I can create another address. And now if I refresh example my screen and I go here, we see still work. So it's really nice. So that's it for this video. In the next one, what we want to do, it's gonna be about when I'm back right now and I came back, we break everything. And why this thing happening is because of this logic right there. Okay, so what we're gonna do in the next video is we're gonna change the fact that this is an array to become a map, because this way you can make sure that everything is gonna be unique, and that's gonna be just better, and you're gonna see why. And after that, I want also to be able to update finally an address. So what I was planning to do, I'm gonna think about this, it's each row I can swipe them to the left, like a bit like Gmail or all this kind of application, and we're gonna have two buttons where you can delete it or you can update it. So I'm gonna check that. That's gonna be tomorrow. But I hope you learned something really nice here with this when. So here with this one, you can create a side effect will run only with one time, but that can be really helpful. So example, okay, I don't know, you build a video game, a game, and inside the game you want, example, tic-tac-toe. So you want when the user is able to do a tic-tac-toe to do a game over. So you can do a win, check when the user have win, and when it's win, you show an alert who say, hey, this user have win. So when can be really helpful. Also, we have reaction. We can do the same thing. I can have done this in reaction, but the beauty of reaction is gonna be every time this stuff gonna change, you're gonna call this function. That will have been the same, but reaction run every time when it's only one time. And also reaction, you can use it to do other stuff. I don't know, like you send like a string, and you can here receive the string, and you can say if str length equal, I don't know, like 10, you can do this, else you do something like that. So it's really, really nice. By putting this in the constructor, we know that this is going to be created right at the beginning, and I think it's much more cleaner than putting this in component did mount, because I almost think then constructor become it's created before the did mount, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so here also we have learned about the get params from React Navigation, and how you can use the set params function here, where you can re-update your navigation. Because remember, this thing is created inside a static, so you don't have access to nothing like that. So here I cannot put the this that handle press, because when they create the header here, the component, the screen himself is not created yet. Yeah, and yeah, I think it's pretty nice what we've learned here. Let me know in the comment what you think about this. Also, let me know if you like this kind of action bound and don't using the state but using the observable. I just think if you use mobx, why not using mobx from A to Z? So, and yes, so we'll talk in the next one. I put the code in the repo. Repo link is in the description, and we talk in the next one. Bye everyone.